We are live from Los Angeles. You are on Mondays with Wallace. I'm Wallace. We are coming to you again from Los Angeles. We talk about everything cannabis on our particular program. I am Wallace Peoples. I'm a board licensed pharmacist, and I've become a bit of an expert on cannabis. I'm not really a smoker of cannabis, but we do support anyone that uses cannabis. And the whole idea behind our show is we're attempting to make people very knowledgeable about cannabis and how to use it properly, how to use it safely, some of the safeguards involved with cannabis. And we try to make a point to make sure that you're using it correctly. Is it right for you? Our audience we found to be all over the country, and we are all available all over the world on the Power of Voices network. I am on Facebook at Wallace Peoples, Mondays with Wallace. We are on Instagram. We are on the Power of Voices radio network. I'd like to thank Josefa Salinas, and I would like to thank my assistant producer, Hunter Peoples, and anyone else that feels free to call. Also, Lee Michaels. Lee is my producer. Today, we are going to speak about how to use cannabis, how to smoke cannabis, how to properly roll cannabis, and how the first-time user would use cannabis. And since I don't use cannabis, and since I have found that a lot of my listeners do not use cannabis, what we're wanting to know is just the information to be knowledgeable about cannabis. Some of the world events that we've had is in New York, they actually had a contamination of artificial or synthetic cannabis, and that sent 20 people to the hospital. You're welcome to call in. Our phone number here is 424-227-9461. We always give the telephone number for poison control. Poison control is 800-222-1222. We are one of the only stations that actually speaks about cannabis. We speak about the use of cannabis. We're not really a conservative show, and I've gotten a lot of flack from people because they think I'm against cannabis, and we are absolutely not against cannabis. Just because we do not smoke cannabis doesn't mean we're for or against it. I'm not for or against cancer, but I'm very knowledgeable about cancer. I am not for or against any product because it's a pharmaceutical. And more, I think what we're seeing is cannabis is becoming a pharmaceutical, even though the Trump administration has not recognized it as being a helpful pharmaceutical. It's still a Schedule 1 narcotic. Anyone would like to call, we're welcome to our guests. Today, we're going to have a number of people on. The first thing we're going to chat about as far as smoking is how to inhale weed properly. And the thing with smoking weed is you're not really wanting to get burned, and you're wanting to get the effect of the weed. I think we're going to say that we are discussing using the weed recreationally. I do have one of my guests, John, on. John, are you with me today?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay, John is with me today. I do have to say that John is an alias. And we have a lot of celebrity aliases, and I love celebrity aliases. Many of you would probably know John if you saw John on the street. And John, we're thankful for you. On our, if you look at my Facebook page, John, I had a piece of Tupac showing you how to smoke or how to roll a blunt. Have you ever met Tupac, by the way?
No, I have not.
Tupac used to spend a lot of time down at Venice Beach, and we do some promos down at Venice Beach. If anyone's down there during one of our promos, I always invite you to stop us. We do just a 1 or 2 minute segment down at Venice Beach. One thing about celebrities, and John, you're kind of the same. And I've always taken issue with issues with celebrities. If you ever are with celebrities, and I've been with John. And so I'm thankful to be with John. John, typically celebrities tend to try to make you bodyguard them. And celebrities tend to, if you're ever with a celebrity, if you ever hop on an elevator with a celebrity, they tend to step in the back as if I'm supposed to shield you from people. Why do you guys do that? I've never got that. I've always hated hopping on the elevator with you because what John will do, he'll lay in back, and when someone gets on the elevator, I'm supposed to shield them or shield you from them from any type of conversation, and it makes me feel like I'm a bodyguard or something, which I have not. And I don't know. I've just never liked that. I've never liked that feeling. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about how to use and how to inhale weed properly. I'm going to say we are using weed today recreationally. Do you accept that?
That's good.
Okay, so now I know the big thing with legalization is that it's to be used medicinally. But I think, would you agree largely that people really are wanting it recreationally?
Of course.
Okay. So, as I can remember using weed, we're going to talk about rolling it. Do we still roll weed anymore? Because there used to be the top papers. Do we still do that?
I'm old school. I like to roll my weed. There's it's just the process of it brings me back to my youth when I would do it very often. And there's an art to it, It's almost as if you're prepping a prime piece of rip, It's just like there's certain steps, and you like to touch it and get a feel of it, and it's just an art to it, and there's nothing like it when you're going to start rolling it up and you put your, some good music that you want to listen to, and you prep your stuff. So there's a couple of steps, and there's an art to it,
I totally understand that. We also have with us a bass guitarist, Manuel. Manuel, are you with us today?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
So I like John's idea that you're like priming steak, or you're getting prepared to do weed. So have you rolled weed, Manuel?
Way back in the day, when I was like a teenager, but it really kind of like highlighted my creativity and gave me confidence. But, as the time went through, it's like I didn't need it anymore, and it started, making me lazy, and it just didn't work anymore.
Okay, well, that's okay if it didn't work for you. That works. So we're back to John. And so we're getting ready. So when you buy a bag, let's say I get a bag, typically costs what nowadays there, John?
So, we're talking about specifics and the size of the bag. You can get a gram, for maybe $10. You can buy whatever the shake that falls from the bud. You can buy maybe 2 grams for $10. So, for one person, an individual person that's just in the beginning stages of smoking weed, a gram is more than sufficient. So at least you can try out if that's the strain that you want to continue smoking or you want to switch it out.
Yeah. I have a tough time smoking cigarettes.
Right.
I also have, smoked cigars. Would you say it's similar to smoking a cigar or a cigarette? Or is marijuana the same?
I would say that, with cigarettes, you're not really inhaling the smoke and keeping it in your lungs. As of with weed, when you smoke it and you inhale, you want to keep it in your lungs for a few seconds.
That's true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm. And smoking a cigar is so. Manuel, have you smoked a cigar?
Yeah, it's like make you dizzy, I can guarantee you that. It will
Yeah,
make you dizzy,
yeah.
It's not anything that you would, compete that with weed, because, it's a whole nother trip, a cigar and weed is a whole nother, is totally opposite,
So, as you guys know, I don't smoke. So, describe to me, if you can, Manuel. Describe to me what getting high is. So, how do I know if I'm high? What am I? As I just don't smoke, I've had cognac and I've smoked cigarettes. So, tell me what getting high is. What is? How do you know if you've done it correctly? How will I know, or how will my listeners know if they've done it correctly?
Well, the first stage when I did it, as a youngster, at the age of, you guys, don't trip, I was only 13, and when I did it, it was like, they was like, suck it in real fast and hold it in your lungs and blow it out, and so when I did that, it just, gave me confidence and made me happy, and
So you get a euphoria feeling. So should I expect a euphoria feeling? Is that what I should
yeah,
expect?
yeah,
John, is that correct? Is that what I would expect?
I think it all depends, and the environment you're in, the people that you're with. And if you have people that have smoked, and they're gonna guide you,
Mhm.
right.
yeah, they're gonna prepare you just because, if you're a cool buddy with them, it's a good thing to smoke. It's just even better if you have someone there teaching you how to do it correctly.
Right.
And doing it correctly is So we're already at the point where you've got your $10 bag and you're separating it out. I don't think anyone could see I don't know if you've seen my Facebook post on Tupac smoking a joint or making a bud. It was really a fantastic piece. I was a big fan of Tupac. Manuel, did you, again, you're an artist. Had you the occasion to meet Tupac?
No, I didn't, but I had heard, a lot about him, through various artists that that were rappers like Ice-T.
Yeah.
He would always be like, he kind of like Ice-T idolized Tupac.
Oh,
And he
well,
was
it's
like,
easy to
he's
see.
like, we're totally opposite, but yet and still, he Ice-T just really learned a lot from Tupac.
Yeah.
They were friends.
Do you know what I think? I really believe if Tupac's music and Biggie, if their music came on the horizon today, I think it'd still be as popular. I think it'd still be a number one.
Tough.
It would
cold-bloodedly tough. Especially Tupac, the way he flowed in his rhythm of his rap, it was just funky.
Yeah.
And I'm funky. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can identify with the funk. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a funk inside of the rap.
Yeah, he had a good bass, and I like the bass. So if you're listening to a song, John, does the music is important. Are you looking for music that has a deeper bass? Are you looking for something are you looking to chill? Are you looking to dance? So I'm trying to get high. I don't get high. But so I'm smoking now. I've got my blunt, and you roll it. Is that correct, John?
No.
So you actually roll the cigarette. Is that correct?
Well, there's, nowadays, you can buy just the blunt wrap, and you can always buy 6-packs, and
But by what?
it's pretty a 6-pack, which is
A 6-pack.
a thin piece of paper to actually smoke. Don't think it's a paper that you use to make copies with. No, it's a smoking paper.
Uh-huh.
And and it has, on one side, it has like a sticky film that when you lick, it'll stick to the other side of the paper, and that keeps it intact.
Now, I knew these as tops in the past. Is it still tops, or is that a lost art, the tops?
No, tops was something that they used for tobacco.
And we don't use it for marijuana anymore?
No, because no, because it's just too much. You know, you're inhaling and holding in too much paper.
Oh, is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would I know this? How would, as a consumer, as a first-time user, how would I know if I've inhaled too much or I'm inhaling paper? Does it actually catch fire or?
No, what it would do, it would start hurting your lungs because you're not a connoisseur or somebody that is aware of it, and so therefore when the lungs start hurting, you realize that you're inhaling a lot of thick paper.
Mm. Remarkably, a lot of people don't realize this, but lungs do not have pain receptors, by the way. So it's probably not your lungs hurting; it's probably more your esophagus hurting. Probably.
See, there goes Wallace in the medical field, ladies and gentlemen.
But no, it's just a fact. It's just a fact. So what's happening is you'll get esophageal burning.
Yeah, and that's what you see a lot in the movies is people smoking and start choking. And that's basically what happens when you consume too much smoke at one time, and you're a beginner, and you don't know how much is too much smoke. And that's when you start to choke. As soon as you start to choke, a lot of that pressure of choking, some of that smoke will go up and will probably come out of your nose also, and will make your eyes even more red just by smoking weed.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so, all right, so essentially you're recommending, tell me the best way. So if you're trying to, do it right, what's the best mechanism? And I know there's a lot of ways to get it. You can actually smoke it with a cigarette. You can actually, and I was told you could actually clear out a cigarette and put the marijuana in. And I was told you could also vaporize it. And there's the bongs. Do people use bongs anymore?
No. I can honestly say no, because it's too much activity, and it's too much going on in the world right now to where, you get caught with one of those babies, man, you're going to be, noticed. And if you do it, it's in your own privacy or your home.
Yeah. John, is that correct, what you're saying?
I think it all depends on the age group. There's different age groups that prefer to smoke weed differently nowadays. There's something called a tab, I believe, which is pretty much a wax. And it's pretty much a concentrated form of marijuana.
Wow.
It's potent. And basically you put it in something that looks like a bong, but you actually need a torch to burn that wax. You can't just use a basic lighter.
Wow.
And,
that's really impressive.
And this is the thing with just the evolution of how you smoke weed. It's so different now that it's not just basically smoking a joint. Young kids nowadays, they don't smoke joints,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's an age group.
It probably is. You all probably haven't heard of this, but there's a condition called Berger's disease. Berger's disease, what Berger's disease is, and you will see it, it's really common among veterans, by the way. But what Berger's disease is when the tips of your fingers are actually rotting away.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. And you'll see it. And it's more common with people that smoke. And as I can remember smoking a roach, because you used to hand a roach around, which of course I would always say no to, because I don't smoke. You guys know that by now. But so you would actually smoke, and you would get, when the joint got down to really, 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 really low, and you were trying to salvage it, it would almost burn you, correct?
Yep.
Right.
The
cherry is burning you.
The what is it again?
The cherry.
The cherry. Okay, tell me what a cherry is.
Okay, so the cherry is pretty much, when you light it up, you see that little red flame in there?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of resembles, it's so red, it kind of resembles a cherry, so that's what you call it, a cherry,
Mm-hmm. So with a cigar, because I smoke cigars, in fact, I'm thankful that someone just was down in Cuba and got me some cigars. So with a cigar, you have to continually light a cigar. With a cigar, when you smoke a cigar, you take the cigar, you light it, really evenly, and you smoke it. Is marijuana the same? Do you have to continue to light it?
No,
You do not.
no, because you're too busy getting high.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, but back to my Burger's disease. So what Burger's disease is, you'll actually see the tips of people's fingers are actually rotting away. And it's a cellulitis, and it's really common with smokers who do not use filters.
And
So
are they smoking? Are they smoking weed or are they smoking something else?
I could imagine they're smoking weed also. But if any of my listeners
Weed
have
is
an
not the
opportunity,
main cost. Weed is not the main cost. So don't scare beginners and say they're going to have this Burger's disease and have their tips of their fingers about to disappear because they're smoking marijuana or
Right.
don't scare people off like that.
I'm not trying to scare people. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. But don't you have to smoke the weed down to your fingers? Because I can remember, as a matter of fact, when I go to Ohio, people still go through ashtrays to see. Oh man, can I find? Oh man, there's a joint. There's a roach. A roach. You call it a roach.
Yeah, but weed is not expensive as it was before. Back in the day, chronic is what everybody smokes now. But back in the day, there was weed and there was chronic.
Right.
And one gram of chronic will cost you $20.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted to smoke it to the end, and that's probably why they would burn their fingertips, because it was expensive. But now you can get a gram; it can be $10, or you can get so. And the more you buy, the cheaper it's gonna be. So, if you're that, if you're that desperate to get a roach and burn your fingertips, you're probably gonna have a collection of roaches. Put it all together in one U6 sack and burn it up, And there's pipes too, so.
Yeah. See, they use the tobacco wrap, and it heightens the high, but the thing about that is like for me, it makes me dizzy, So tobacco, I'm not a cigarette smoker. I'm not a cigar smoker. I don't really deal with tobacco, period. So therefore, but that's what these people and kids and the young youth are getting hooked on because it enhances the marijuana when you wrap it up in tobacco wrap.
I see. So that makes it better, or that makes it worse?
It makes it more powerful.
Okay.
But you're really getting dizzy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not one to get dizzy, and this is because our listeners are people that typically do not smoke. So again, we're trying to make it good for them. So I really want. So I don't want to smoke. I got to ask you, if we were together, let's say we were together, me and John and Manuel, we were all together, and you had some weed. Do we still offer it around, and would you still offer it to me and say, hey, do you want to hit this?
I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
You rather not?
I'd rather not. No, because it's you're pretty much, there's no need for that,
Well, everyone used to do that.
In high school, you would probably do it, because, who had that much money, and you weren't really concerned about what other people had, it was just kind of like within your buddies. But nowadays, just to be on the safe side, I'd rather roll it up, one for you, one for me, and one for Manuel, and then we can both just enjoy it and take our time without having to pass it around.
Exactly.
So if I were to walk into, and I'm just trying to get the culture of marijuana smokers today. I just wanted to know the culture. So if I were to walk into, if there are a group of people smoking marijuana,
right,
and I would ask for a hit, they wouldn't give me a hit?
Normally, I'm going to say the God's truth. Normally they won't. Because
what's going on with you guys?
I don't know why, but they won't.
Okay.
I don't understand it, but I'm telling you something that's the God's truth, man. They won't.
John, is that what you do too?
if we were in the party and I saw you walk in, I'll pass it to you. Because I'll be like, I know he don't smoke, and I know he's missing out on a good thing. He's from the old school era that thinks that he's gonna fly out of a building if he smokes weed.
No,
I'll try to get you. I'll try to get you to hit whatever I'm hitting.
I see.
But after a while, you will probably learn that it's just better to have your own, either your own pipe or your own joint.
I see.
But yeah.
So if we're at a party, I'm just trying to understand. So if we're at a party, and this is for my listeners, this is not for me. This is for my listeners. If we're at a party, would the joint go around the entire room? Would everyone smoke it if you had one joint, or would you expect everyone would have a lot of joints?
Well, I wouldn't want to hit it, but
you would not.
If a joint is being passed around and you're just walking into a party, you really don't know what's in there,
Right.
So I think we're a little bit more mature to just smoke whatever is being passed around. Just be more conscious about what you're smoking, because if you're a new beginner, you don't want to smoke. You don't want to take a hit of something that you think is sweet, but there might be something else. It's just better if you smoke it.
You're right. You are so right.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned about, this is my concern, and this would probably mirror my assistant producer, Hunter's concern. What's the whole infectious disease thing? How do I know where your mouth has been? You smoke your cigarette.
You know what, Wallace? I don't want to intercept you on that, but let me tell you one thing, man. They got this thing that's going on right now to where, it's a new disease that has developed to where, your saliva can cause, a problem.
Your saliva is already a problem for me, man. So we don't have to step too far from that one. Hey, I'm there. I'm there already. Yeah, I'm absolutely there. So we're getting ready to smoking our joints, and we're not sharing it because the culturally today we don't share, which I get. We got the whole thing. So I'm smoking. Is there a way to get a better smoke once you roll it, or do you just do you lick it, or is there a way to enhance the actual smoke with cigars? Cigars, what you can do is you can actually tip the end in cognac. I really like Hennessy cognac, but you can actually tip it in cognac and you can smoke it. Is there a way, do any of you know, to enhance the smoke or enhance the what would you call it? Enhance the event.
What you do is like you lick your fingers with saliva or spit or whatever you want to call it, and then you the flame you do it in the back of the flame, and then it makes it smoke slower.
I see.
I back in my when I would smoke blunts, we would get a peach flavor Swisher Sweet. Peach flavor just goes really good with the chronic. We would roll it up, and instead of licking it, what we would do, we would apply a little bit of honey, and that would help to smoke it to be lighting up a little bit slower. At the tip where you're going to light up the blunt, what we would do is put a little bit of honey around it, and pretty much the whole circular of the blunt at the front, so you wouldn't get a sideburn. So when you're inhaling, sometimes the weed, there might be more weed on one side than the other. It might be more compressed. As you inhale, you start burning one side of the blunt more than the other, and that will make the cherry fall out.
Yeah, so it don't be even. It don't be even.
Yeah, exactly. So there's an art form of how to smoke it, and you're not rushing anything. You're just smoking and inhaling very slowly until you get that perfect burn. Once you get that perfect burn going on your blunt, that's when you can just put the lighter down, chill back, put your head back, and just inhale as you wish.
And see, Wallace, that's why they used to put a little spit on their finger and put it on the side that is burning faster, and then all of a sudden, hey, man, it turns out to be even. But it's an art to that, man, because, I used to smoke weed for real. You know what I'm saying? But I burnt out on it. But, that is art, man. You have to, when you see it, the other side ain't burning, then you put a little spit on the side of it, of the side that is burning.
Sometimes, if you get a drink, sometimes you can add a little salt to it. Like if you were to get what's the drink where you add the salt? If you get a margarita, you put salt on it. And I guess with marijuana or smoking, I guess the citrus or the honey. So that does that enhance the experience, or does that make it a little more easier to smoke, or does that get you higher?
It adds flavor to the smoke. It's anything. Every blunt now that you'll see, they have particular kinds of flavors.
Yeah.
So maybe if you get let's say you get a sour diesel. A sour diesel is semi of a hybrid of a sativa and an indica, and it has orange hairs.
And it has orange hairs, you said?
Orange hairs. And it has a certain taste to it. So
it does.
Since you already know that flavor of that sour diesel strain, you can always mix to what blunt flavor you want to get. Or you can always just vaporize it, and you can really get that true flavor when you vaporize it, because you're not getting any kind of other smoke from the blunt wrap, or you're not burning something else. It's not a thick smoke, it's more of a... Yeah,
now, I think that this is very important to explain vaporizing.
Right.
There's a phrase called roasting, and roasting and vapor. Is roasting and vaporizing the same, or is that a little different?
I don't know what roasting is.
Okay. And that's what I understand roasting to be, is when you are taking the your weed and your cigarette, and you're just actually, holding the fire to it a little longer, just to get it to go evenly. And I've always seemed to see people, but more so with the roaches, kind of relight them, and that's the thing that kind of concerned me.
Well, I can honestly tell you guys that the resin, of the weed goes all the way into the back, and that's the best part. So yeah, you're going to burn your fingers up, trying to get the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm telling you something, man, for real.
So the resin wouldn't be in the front?
No. It collects into the back.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it turns the bud in the end black or brownish from that thick smoke that's just being collected back, and also the moisture of your lip makes the weed at the end a little bit soggy. So it's at the end it's a little bit more soggy, it's thicker, and yes, it is stronger, but you're gonna get thicker smoke out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It almost turns into like hash. Because the back of that, man, you got a whole lot of resin, but there's no way that you're gonna be able to get it to where you really want it, and that's why you burn your fingers up.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be what you're really trying to. You're not gonna get it like you really want it to be, because it ain't nothing left. But that's the best part, actually.
Yeah.
You can always use tweezers, like any like eyebrows, the things that you use to pluck out your eyebrows. You can use those tweezers if you're so concerned about burning your fingertips. You can always use that instead of your burning your fingertips. So there's always a way to smoke it. You don't have to necessarily focus so much on the best is at the end, but I don't want to burn my fingertips. Use them tweezers,
Yeah. How long, so if you were to smoke, let's say now I'm not a smoker, so if I were to smoke, how long would I get high, or how long would I be high, or how long would the experience last?
Right. Well, it's going to depend everything on your body. If you have a full stomach, it'll be better if you smoke. You don't want to smoke.
I'm sorry, it's better to smoke on a full stomach?
On a full stomach, it's kind of like taking a strong medication, where if you just take it without having a full stomach, early in the morning, you're going to get dizzy, you're going to get lightheaded, and you're going to burn out faster. But
that's true. That is very true.
Yeah, so if you smoke weed, you don't have to be completely full, but just with something in your stomach, and you smoke maybe 2 or 3 hits, you're gonna feel the effects right away. As soon as you smoke, and especially if it's really good, the effects are instantaneous.
Is that right? Is that right?
Yes.
And the effects. So, John, would you describe the effects as instantaneous euphoria or instantaneous where somnolence, whereas you're wanting to lay down and go to sleep, or you're wanting to just chill, or you're just wanting to relax, or let's say I'm having an argument with my wife, and and I really want to make this better, and I feel like I'm overreacting, or I feel like I'm doing anything. Should I smoke, and would I be more combative, or do you think if I smoke, it'd be easier for me to tell her that, honey, God, I'm doing this,
honestly,
or I'm doing that.
Short and say, yeah.
So it pulls your inhibitions down, or it makes you not as combative, or
it makes you not argumentative. It makes you not argumentative, and it makes you put up with a lot of things that you wouldn't put up with if you wasn't smoking.
Yeah, man. It's a stress reliever.
It's a what? Say the phrase again.
It's a stress reliever. Smoking weed, it's a stress reliever.
I see.
When you smoke weed amongst your friends, it's a chill time. It's enjoyable. You don't take anything to heart. It's more of just a fun time event. And with me, sometimes when I would have a stressful time at work, and I knew I had to deal with the kids and my pets and my wife, what I would do, I would go smoke a little bit of weed, couple of hits, and then my point of view of things would change dramatically because my mindset was different. And I knew that I was in control a lot better because if my kids made a mess, instead of screaming at them, I would be like, you know what, they're kids. They're going to make a mess.
Yeah.
If my wife started to scream at me for whatever reason, I'll be like, look, sweetie, I'm sorry. I'll do it right now. And I'll be more chill. And she'll be like, wow. She wasn't expecting that, so I'll catch her off guard with that. And she'll be like, damn, smoke weed every day so that we don't argue. So smoking weed is very chill. It's a stress reliever.
It is.
And that's what I want to point out big time to a lot of these smokers or people that have never smoked or been against it, is that when you smoke weed, you're going to notice that you're going to be more calm, more relaxed, and you're going to look at things a lot differently because you're going to be in a more chill mode. So your reaction of screaming or being angry, you're going to be more content and more relaxed. And you're going to make things better for you, and everyone else is going to notice that. You're going to be like, wow, he's pretty chill, and it's going to be a good thing,
You're probably right. The only thing I say to that is we have so many, and you all both know I'm a pharmacist. We have so many medications that can do that for you. We have medications for you just name it.
Without the side effects.
Well, the side effects are essentially, make you sleepy or make you tired or lethargic. But I could give you some. I couldn't because I don't prescribe. But we could give you Valium. There's quetiapine. There's trazodone.
What?
I can talk. There's Ambien. There's my God.
I completely disagree with you on that one. What's going on right now that's affecting American society right now?
Well, there's an abundance of things. Obviously,
it's the
narco, man. Narco. That shit is it's an epidemic right now.
I don't feel like it's an epidemic. People are in pain. If I got to ask you, you break your leg. Let's say one of you break your leg. I break my leg, and I'm going to give you the option of taking marijuana, or I'm going to give you the option of taking Norco, or I'm going to give you the option of anything else. I guarantee you're going to choose Norco. I guarantee.
I know. Right on, Wallace. Right on.
Right.
You're going against the point that you're
job.
Here. Marijuana will not kill your pain. It's not a painkiller. It's a press release.
Okay, I get that. You're right. Right.
There's a difference there.
Okay, I agree.
And for antipsychotics, antidepressants, marijuana will work the same way, if not better, than that antidepressant, antipsychotic that you're taking.
And I think your argument is it doesn't have the extended side effects.
Extended side effects, and it's not. It's you also got to look at about who's making business and who's losing business here. If big time pharmaceutical companies are making billions and billions of dollars, prescribing antidepressant and antipsychotics, they're not going to be for marijuana, and they're going to give you, those back stigma stereotypes that people are so used to hearing.
Yeah. I still have to argue just a bit that some of the products we're seeing are synthetics, almost like the marijuana with the sativa and the what's the second one?
The indica?
Indica and sativa. So a lot of the drugs are fairly specific, whereas let's say Paxil or let's say Prozac, they're really designed whereas they can treat even things like PTSD. You can treat that specifically, and a lot of our drugs, there's so many, they're targeted. The thing about marijuana, which I like a lot, I'm not necessarily liking it or not liking it. Marijuana doesn't seem to contribute to suicide ideation.
No.
Would you agree to that,
John? I would agree to that, but I tell you one thing, it is a high depressant. Marijuana is a depressant.
It's a depressant? So it
depresses you? It is sometimes, man. It's like, am I clothes right? Am I looking good? Or, and then you start not even caring about how you look, and then you're eating all the time, and then you just turn into just something that nobody wants to be around. That's why I don't do it anymore. Because it doesn't make you, it takes away your etiquette.
John, is it addicting?
No. Let me argue with that one, Manuel. I think that's an individual thing right there, or that might be a certain characteristic of that person's individual personality.
It is, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it is for me because I'm a musician, and I have to be on my tippy toes on everything. And then when I smoke weed, I forget, I slack, and I can't do it. I just can't mess with it.
The way it works for me is it makes it even more artistic because my mental is more stimulated because I'm more calm. When I'm more calm, I can think more clearly. When I'm more clearly, I can focus more on that certain activity that I'm doing right there and then. So, it's fair for him. It's a valid point, but for some people it works differently.
Yeah.
And I think it also comes with moderation. You don't want to smoke to the point where you get stupid high.
Exactly. Now we're talking. Now we are really talking. Yeah.
Right. You can smoke to the point where you're just a couch potato, where you can't even move, and you're basically just munching out and becoming a slob. Or you can take a couple of hits in moderation and be like, okay, this is good enough where I can still be functional, right? And that all comes with just, it all comes with just knowing what you're smoking and knowing how to smoke in moderation.
I'm not a fan of doing it, but I was going to ask my producer, Lee Michaels, could we have someone in studio smoking? I was thinking no, because of the building codes. But could we have someone in the building smoking with me, although I don't smoke, just so we can figure it out?
Well, let me check into that. But you might get a contact high.
A contact high. I don't know. Do you feel that could I do the show if I, and I think you gentlemen, and John, I know John, although his name is not John, I have to confess. And John's really a productive piece of society. So I don't see that smoking cannabis or weed has hurt you. I don't feel like it would hurt me. Is that something? Do you feel I could do the show from my own?
I think if I could talk to you correctly, if I can guide you correctly, and if you're willing to
not
listen,
just me or anybody.
you know, or whoever it might be, for if they're a first time user, you know, you'll be functional to a certain extent, you know. But you also got to know that you're going to be, if this is a first time experience, this is going to be new to you. So you might be a little bit scared, or you might be like, you won't know what to make out of it because these emotions are going to be so brand new to you. So you're not going to know what to do with them. You know what I mean?
That is so very true.
Yeah.
Right.
Or bring in an experienced smoker.
Well,
And walk
sure.
him, go through the steps.
Yeah, well, and I still don't really have the desire to smoke, but
No.
you know, for our listeners, we're just wanting people to realize, is this a threat to them? We're trying to just identify smoking, and you all are on Mondays with Wallace. You know, I was thinking of a new slogan for our show. I don't know how you all like it. We were gonna say this is the 420 flight out of Los Angeles. How's that sound?
The 420 flight.
Flight 420 out of L.A.?
Yeah.
Lee, how does that sound? Flight 420 out of L.A.?
What is that?
Why don't you just say Los Angeles?
Well, it's like flight. Well, 420 is the moniker for smoking.
Yeah, I know,
okay.
but
So
420 out of
420. So did you know what 420 meant, John?
Yeah, I know exactly what that means, and I've read on how that came to be. You know, the 420 was pretty much a whole bunch of high school kids that would get together at a certain time to smoke, and it just grew, you know, and that's what it is now. And
Oh, is that how 420 came about?
that's
So-
what I have heard and read. Yeah.
So because we're also putting together T-shirts here, so without we want to say our message. So if I say 420 flight out of, this is our radio program, Mondays with Wallace, and you all know we're every Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is flight 420 out of Los Angeles. Would you know what that means?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you know we're talking about marijuana?
Yeah. A weed smoker would automatically know what that's about.
A weed smoker. would know.
Wow, that's new to me.
420 is new to you? It's fairly common.
Yeah, it's very new to me because I'm not a weed smoker, so I don't know the terminologies.
Yeah, no, that's very common. Anyone knows. Even I think last April the 20th in Los Angeles, all Uber rides were free, and they did something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 412.
Yeah,
Which is
420.
Which is your daughter and my birthday.
Oh,
That was yesterday. Huh? That was yesterday.
well, yeah. Well, actually, 420. This is 520.
Oh, January, February, March, April.
Yeah, this is
420
520.
is my birthday.
This is 520.
Oh, but you said 420.
Yeah. Now, do people use bongs anymore? Bongs is done.
No. Everything that you ever thought of with smoking, it still applies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's just a certain age group that tends to lean on something else. A bong, you will have that in your house or in your garage because, just like Manuel said, it's a bulky item. You don't want to be walking around with that, or you don't want to have that in your vehicle because the water in there, it's very funky because of all the smoke that passes through it.
Big time.
And you don't want to have a spill of that. You're going to have bong water funk in your vehicle, and that is a very smelly, smell right there. You don't want that. So bongs, pipes, vaporizers. You can even make a pipe out of an apple. So
you make a pipe out of an apple.
A pipe out of an apple.
Out of an apple.
Out of an apple.
Explain
and I
that.
can show you how to do that. Yeah.
Could you talk us through that?
It's very simple. So what you need to make a pipe is to have 2 holes, essentially 3. You want to have, so let's take an apple for example. Now, where the stem is in the apple, that can be your little mini bowl, right? So let's remove the stem. We're going to remove the stem out of the apple.
Okay.
Now you have a little cave-looking thing, right? So
Okay.
you'll put a good little amount of weed in there. Now, in the
Do
middle
you
of the
core
apple,
do you core the entire apple out, like the stem? Do you make a hole
No.
in the entire, or no, or just the
You need basic
upper
tools.
aspect of the apple?
you need a base. Let's say you have a pen. not even a screwdriver. You have a pen, you poke it right down the middle where that stem is at, and you're going to hit where the seeds collect.
Okay.
Dang.
Right there. It's a little bit hollow, right? It's a little bit hollow. Now
I've never heard this before.
In the middle of the apple, you're going to stick the pen through there again, and you want to go right in the middle where the seeds are at.
Okay.
And that's going to be where you're going to hit it from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you grab the apple, you're going to put the hole that you just made in the middle of the apple and put it to your mouth. Now, with the thumb, you're going to, wherever your thumb is at while you're holding the apple, you want to mark it, and then you're going to make another hole to the middle of the apple again. So you're going to have 3 holes. Mm-hmm. The one where the stem is at, the one that is going to be connected to your mouth, mm-hmm. and then the other one where your thumb is going to be located at.
Okay.
Pretty much
that's like a carbonation. Like, that's your carb.
Yeah, it's like you're creating a pipe. You're creating
moving
that finger, and then it hits better.
Exactly.
Does it give you the same type of, or is it a little better? Is it? So
it's better. It's better.
It has that. Can you actually get the apple flavor?
Yeah, you get a little bit of apple flavor there, and it's an easy way to smoke weed. And after you're done smoking, shit, eat the apple. And that was a high school trick that we learned in high school because you didn't want to get caught with walking around with a pipe or 6-ax. Hey, man, teachers love apples, and now we know why.
You're absolutely a fantastic guest. Both of you are fantastic guests. So that's interesting. So bongs, so that basically would be a bong, but would you put water in it or anything, or you just smoke it just that way? Just apples?
No. For a bong, you need to add water.
And the water cools it down, or the water prevents the burning?
Yeah, what the water does is pretty much collecting. It's a way to get smoke inside the bong itself. So think about it. When you see a bong, it has the bowl that you can pull out.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna have a base where the water's gonna be collected. And then it's gonna have a long tube. On that tube, you can always add ice, and that's gonna cool down the smoke. It's optional.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also when you pull out the bowl, it's gonna be like a port. Now, when you hit the bong, you're gonna apply your lips pretty much at the tip of the tube. You're gonna inhale as you light it up. You're going to hear that kind of like a bubbly sound, like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and that's the smoke passing through the water, and it's going to collect on the top. Now, once it's being collected on the top, you're going to see the amount of smoke that you're going to inhale. So you want to stop after you see how much smoke you have.
That's true.
Yeah, in the pretty much in the top part of the bong. After you do that, you take out the bowl. And this is a process called clearing the bong. You're going to want to clear it. And after you clear it, it's going to be a good amount of smoke. And you want to release the smoke before you start choking. If you release the smoke and you're coughing, that smoke is going to go all over your inside of your internals of your mouth. It's going to go, to out of your nose. It's going to hit your eyes. You're going to get watery eyes. So there's also you need to be skillful when you're hitting the bong. So if you're going to be a first-time smoker, don't hit it out the bong. Make sure you're smoking with a true professional before you try this at home.
John, I had heard, and Manuel, maybe you'll know about this. I had heard of a cottonmouth smoking. Is that because you're not knowledgeable about it, or is that because you're doing it incorrectly? Cottonmouth is when your mouth is really dry and cottony. Is there a way to improve upon that?
Always have some beverage with you.
Exactly.
And is it really required if you're going to smoke? Is it possible to smoke with a beverage, like just say alcoholic beverage?
Yeah.
Could you?
You were listening to Tupac. What did Tupac like to drink the most?
He was cognac, right, or no? Or chronic? Chronic?
Hennessy.
Oh, Hennessy.
Hennessy and say, yeah, man.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Something like a drink like Hennessy, it burns all the resin out of your mouth, so you don't have to worry about cotton mouth. So
can you actually dip the marijuana in a cognac or anything like that, or would that make it just totally inflamed?
No, I tried to do that. I tried to do that once, man. It just don't do nothing.
It doesn't do nothing.
No,
it doesn't work, or
it doesn't work.
I think it's just. I think if you level out what's going to be stronger, the alcohol content or the marijuana content that you're putting into the drink. So, yeah, it's better probably, just to eat it. You always heard of brownies, those special brownies, So if you're going to mix one drug with the other, the one that's stronger is probably going to cancel out the one that's weaker,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
One thing that I personally like to do is cognac. Have either of you gentlemen ever drank Hennessy or cognac? I'm sure you have.
Mm-hmm, of course.
You know what you can do with it is you can actually, if you have a cognac glass, and a cognac glass is the fluted glass that is a bit of a cup and has the smaller end, you can actually take the cognac in there and you can actually put it in the microwave. You can actually heat it up and you can get an aroma or an aromatic to the cognac where you can just sniff it. And that's why they're called brandy sniffers, where you would sniff the cognac and you get a really, really mellow high. You guys ever done that or no?
No.
I've never done that. That's something that's just, if you're ever with me, you actually don't have to drink the cognac. You can actually hold it if you're at a party. You can actually take the cognac and hold it in front of your nose or your mouth without drinking it, and you still get a bit of a buzz, which I really have always liked because you don't get an alcohol breath. You get pulled over, which I don't, of course, drink and drive. I don't do anything like that. But if you were to smoke with me, if I'm smoking with you all, is it possible for me to get the same kind of a pleasurable high from just being with you, or no? It's called a contact high.
No, a contact high, no.
No, like if you're smoking, let's say you're in studio and you're smoking with me, would I get a little high?
You're talking about it as if you're just inhaling the smoke, the smoke that's around in the room.
Basically, I'm just breathing the smoke you're smoking out. I'd get a little, because sometimes you would see people would actually smoke and they'd blow it into your face, and you would be you kind of thankful, like, oh, thanks for that, man, that was great.
Yeah, that's pretty rude, but I think it's called hotboxing it.
It's called hotboxing it.
Hotboxing it. So basically, it's the room or the car, whatever it is closed. There's no air going out, so all the smoke stays inside, and you're pretty much breathing in whatever's in the air, which is going to be marijuana smoke. Mm-hmm. But it's nothing like really truly hitting it and getting it directly into your lungs and keeping it in. So it'll be if you're in there for hours and we're smoking for hours, yeah, eventually you're going to get high, but it might take a little bit longer.
The thing with drug testing, some of the minimums when you get drug tested, if it's for your job or for whatever, certain minimum blood levels cannot be achieved by just inhaling. So if you were smoking, let's say, typically the threshold for a positive blood test for marijuana, the threshold is 500 nanomics per milliliter. However, if you are in the vicinity of someone, you only get to about 5 or 10. So that would say to me that I would be safe with someone smoking, and I wouldn't have to worry about having a positive drug test. So I guess my argument is that it may not be so bad for me to experience it without getting high without smoking. Is there a way for me to experience getting high without smoking?
Well, if you came out with those numbers, I'm pretty sure you'll get a minimal high,
Yeah.
So you won't get the full effect.
Is a minimal high worth is it worth getting high? A minimal high?
In my eyes, no.
No?
No.
No.
It's like getting the tip of your penis just in and not the full thrust, you know? Is that really all you want?
I see. So it's you feel you can only absolutely
Well,
smoke
that
it.
terminology, there's some people that it's like more stimulating that way.
Yeah. Did you find when you performed? I believe you performed with Tina Turner and a number of. Who all did you perform with, Manuel?
Tina Turner, Jeffrey Osborne, Shaka Khan, Rolls Royce, and Side Effect.
Mm-hmm. Now these guys smoke. Did you find that enhanced your ability, or it distracted from your ability, or
Well,
did you?
for me, it distracted my ability because you be in the middle of the set and you're sleepy, and your chops ain't your chops ain't really tight enough,
Yeah. Okay.
I would wait until I would get off from from after the show, and then I would smoke a little, but yeah, I would do it that way, but I wouldn't do it before I start because you'd be in the middle of the set, and then you're not looking right, you're not doing your steps right, everything is like, it's like they can tell that you're looking sleepy and you're not with it.
Yeah. What do you do to relax today, Manuel?
Basically, just have me a beer.
A beer.
Yeah, like I'm about to in a minute.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you all. We this is Mondays with Wallace. This is Flight 420 out of Los Angeles. We do Mondays with Wallace every Mondays. We are on the Power of Voices radio network. I'm with my producer, Lee Michaels. I am Wallace Peoples. I am a pharmacist. We talk every Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everything cannabis. I don't use cannabis, and many of my listeners don't use cannabis, but we are really trying to educate people on the usefulness of cannabis. We talk about just everything. We've gotten a lot of heat from talking about the NBA on cannabis. We've gotten a lot of heat talking about cookies and cannabis. I'm interested in any ideas for future shows. I think next show we're going to talk about cannabis and cookies. Is that something that you guys tend to think is a good or bad idea? Cannabis edibles?
No.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea if you know how to mix it correctly and you know what you're consuming.
Yeah. Okay. Well, again, thank you for my guests. I want to thank John, who is an anonymous name. And John, I really appreciate you. And Manuel, I really appreciate you. We're going to see you all next week. Actually, next week is Memorial Day, so I don't know if we're going to be here Memorial Day. But it's Mondays with Wallace. Good night, everyone. Please tune in and please go to my Facebook channel and like our video if you can. My video is on Mondays with Wallace and Wallace Peoples. Good night, everyone. Thanks for being a guest, and thank you for listening.